Okay, I thought I'd do a quick summary on the last 6 months. In 6 months, I've seen a lot of suffering, from refugees, from war zones, from Syria, from Afghanistan, from all over. From Eritrea, places like this. Most of the refugees that come into Lesbos are from war zones. The majority are. We do have ones that are not coming in, but the majority is definitely from war zones. Refugees, should have food, shelter, water, and hygiene. The European governments have given absolutely none of this in 6 months to the refugees here on the island of Lesbos. The European governments, Greece is in Europe, and I thought the European Union was set up for each country to help each other country. Quite obviously that doesn't apply here in Greece, because the European Union governments from Northern Europe, well, all around Europe, haven't helped Greece at all. They haven't even tried. And I've been told these camps here in Karatepe and in Moria, I've had people that worked in Bangladesh and people that's worked in Africa in camps, and they said they have never seen anything so disgusting in all their lives than the camps here. The filth that these people have to live in, the conditions that these people have to live in. A lot of this, European governments could help. They could have helped in the last 6 months, and they haven't. They could have sent people here to help, and they haven't. They haven't helped at all, and it's absolutely bloody disgusting. Greece is part of Europe. The governments in Europe have turned a blind eye to this and just walked away from it. They have their little meetings and their big meals and everything else, and they leave it to normal people to try and help. And try and feed and trying to do the health and everything else for the refugees coming in by the thousands, absolutely thousands. We've had over 50,000. We've had over 50,000 this, more than 50,000 on this island, I'm pretty sure by now, and we're in August now. Yesterday we had 17 boats just on the north of the island. When you're talking 17 boats, you're talking about 900 people just on the north. They come in all the way down the east coast, all the way around. Today, so far, we've had 12 boats come in, 650 people. The last 2 weeks, we had coaches come in, and they are picking up. But for all those months, these people had to suffer, where the whole of the world was watching these long marches with babies and everything in their hands. This is just unbelievable. And it went on month in, month out, and everyone in Europe was turning a blind eye to it. The UNHCR was here, and they done absolutely nothing. They watched these people suffer constantly, the UNHCR. These are meant to be the top aid agency in the world, this organisation, and it is absolutely a joke, an absolute joke. They've been here for 6 months, and they've watched these people suffer. They've watched people go hungry. They've watched people living in filth. They've watched people that can't use toilets because the toilets haven't been cleaned for months in and months out, and they're having to shit in places that they shouldn't be. Here alone, we try to get toilets here, so these people here tonight are sleeping. Last night we had 180 people here. Tonight we've got 50, 60 people here, and there'll be a lot more coming yet. And even here for 6 months, we've been trying to get some sort of toilets from this town. This town has given us no help at all. They said we could put up toilets, which are down the bottom end here. We brought the toilets, and I was told they all had a good laugh when they told us we were not allowed to put them up. And the donations were given by tourists and from tourists and people from around the world. We, over 3,000 euros, and this right-wing people that run this town, they had a great laugh when they turned around and said, no, we couldn't put it up. In the last 6 months, this town has had a lot of closed meetings and a lot of open meetings. But the open meetings, we had people shouting, women shouting, shoot them on the beaches and everything else. That's how bad it is. And they have given absolutely no help, no water, no food. All these hotels, businesses, everything here have given us absolutely no help at all. It's just a few volunteers and a lot of people on holiday coming to help because they know how stressed a few of us are that are here. So we've had a lot of tourists come and give us help. This town has put so many barriers in the way. We've, over the 6 months, the amount of times we've been helping babies at the back of the car on towels and things like this, and we've had people from this town come in cars calling us malakas and disgusting people for helping these babies. And a lot of them have been women screaming out of their cars, which is quite unusual. As I said before about the women organisation here, screaming and shouting, kill them, shoot them on the beaches. This doesn't happen anywhere in the world. And as I said a few months ago, Greece can work this two ways. They can either help the refugees and here because they don't want to stay here. They're going up into Europe. We could either help them, and the whole world that's been watching, can see what big hearts the Greek people have. Yeah. And believe me, I believe most Greek people have a big heart. Or they can go like this town and literally go complete opposites, and now people around the world are looking at the Greek people and saying, what type of people are these? Yeah. The Greek people were known throughout the world for their hospitality and their big hearts. This town has changed all that. And is still changing it, because of their lack of help and their disgusting way they're handling this situation. These authorities in this town, not the people in the town, it's the authorities that run the town. These right wing that run all the associations, which I've said many times, these associations should be helping. But they don't do nothing. These few people here today, there's not many here. We've had hundreds down here sleeping. They're going to have to spend the night. But the tarpaulins have been donated by tourists, and the money and by normal people. The sleeping bags the same. All the food that comes down, they will be fed here, is done by just a few volunteers, and we have a few permanent volunteers, and. We do in the morning. We do the north coast and everything else. Me and my wife, and we have a couple more volunteers helping us now. We have a boat foundation from the Netherlands, which is the Refugee Boat Foundation. Fantastic. They've been sending us 2 volunteers every couple of weeks, and it's been great help. It really has, because we've been able to run these people off the mountains and everything else. And stop and walk in. Yesterday we were driving 12 kilometres. We had to bring over 80 people in over 12 kilometres. Across really rough terrain, and we done it. We brought them all in, but at the end of the day, I was absolutely knackered. I was finished, and I got in about 7-8 o'clock and just ready to get in the shower, and I got another phone call, and there's 2 more boats coming in, so I had to rush out again, and it was one of those days. And today's been even worse. Today's been a real tiring day, and there's only a few of us on the ground. When these people up here in this town, all these organisations, they could be helping us and making life so much easier and proving to the world what big hearts the Greeks have and what nice people the Greeks are. But obviously this town thinks differently. It's got the people that run the town, it's got no heart for humanity at all, and the lies and stuff they've come out with in their resolutions over the months and everything else is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. The other thing that's been going on, we've had all these NGOs. The camps are disgusting. I was down at Karatepe this morning, and they are still disgusting. I went down last week and I cleaned the toilets, and I cleaned the toilets a couple of weeks ago, and I went down this morning and they're absolutely bogging down there. It's disgusting. The smell is back in, the flies are back in. Now, I was told last week when I went in and cleaned the toilets that Doctors Without Borders were coming in and dealing with it all. Well, the camp is absolutely disgusting and filthy. And they said they were taking over Moria as well, and I seen photographs from Moria yesterday, and Moria's toilets, no one could use them. They're just filth. Yeah? Now, Doctors Without Borders, you surprise me. Either you've pulled out altogether and no one's cleaning anything, or you're just collecting donations like everyone else. I know you laid on a bus for 2 weeks, and now the UNHCR has finally got involved on the island after 6 months of watching people suffer, and they've laid on a bus. It's a bit complicated for us now to actually get a phone call through to the bus. Before it was quite easy when we were phoning Doctors Without Borders the last 2 weeks. I mean, the bus is fantastic. It stops all these people suffering, I must admit. But anyway, the UNHCR took over 3 days ago. That's the first time they've done anything in 6 months of watching thousands upon thousands, thousands, 40, 50,000 people they've been watching suffering. They've been here watching all this and doing absolutely nothing. And they tell me it's paperwork and complicated. And they tell me, they're all lawyers here on the island. Well, I had lawyers cleaning out the toilets as well, and they didn't get paid for it. These lawyers here, they have no heart that work for the UNHCR, UNHCR, sorry. I don't know how you employ these people, because I thought the UNHCR was a top aid agency in the world, and I thought that the UNHCR would employ people that have a heart, and can see people suffering and will help them regardless of the situation. And you need an emergency response team that can go in within 24 hours and help people when they're suffering, not sitting there eating big meals and drinking wine and not helping at all when you have normal people trying to help. And you're watching them and you don't even come across to help them or at all, or give them any advice or anything. You're meant to be the top agency in the world, and believe me, you're a bloody joke. You're an absolute joke. And I've had other comments coming in from people where you've been other conflicts and things you've been in other places, and they say exactly the same. You're there in your big cars and your fancy clothes and everything else, and your €80 sunglasses and everything else, and you do absolutely nothing. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Something should be done about you, UNHCR, because something is very wrong there, very wrong. These people are suffering. We have no money. I can't wear a pair of €80 sunglasses. I can't drive around in a Range Rover. I got a little Daewoo 3-cylinder, and I'm up and down the mountains rescuing people where you're sitting down in the restaurants having a great time. Disgusting people. Right, Doctors Without Borders. I don't know what's going on. I was quite shocked today when I went down and seen all the filth when you told me last week you would definitely clean it all up and everything else, and you haven't. International Rescue, they came in, they put some showers up on a fence line, they dug a ditch, they paid for this, outside showers. They've shingled a little bit, enough for about 5 tents. I don't know what the problem is there. I'm going to try and find out, because again, there's all this money being donated by people all around the world and big companies and things to all these agencies, and what's happened in the last 6 months is extra nothing. The boat people from the Netherlands, and the boat foundation from the Netherlands, they've supplied us with a lot, and they've sent a lot of Pampers, clothes for children. They've done a tremendous amount. One of the only NGOs. I was quite surprised about the amount of they have done. They've really put themselves out to help. International Rescue started, but it's very, very slow. And what I've seen, it's not, it's not a lot of money's gone in. I hope I can see something a bit different from the International Rescue, because they have been here for a month or so, and I'm not impressed, honestly, as a person, what they've done in a month. We've done a lot ourselves in a month, the normal volunteers, by cleaning things and doing things and helping people and getting them off the mountains and, trying to help them medically. We still don't have a doctor on the north of the island after 6 months. And talking about doctors, and borderline Europe, this guy that came in, organised this meeting and everything else, and knocked us back 6 months because he came in shouting and screaming what he was going to do and everything else, and all hell broke loose in the meeting. A lot of women screaming at him and everything else, and he, was hoping for good things from that meeting, because there was a Greek guy in there that we was hoping would stand up, and quite obviously this guy from borderline Europe went in and he upset everyone, and all hell broke loose. Anyway, this guy himself, in the beginning of July, he was on the radio and on Facebook, and I'm going to put this link on, not the link, I'm going to put a bit on Facebook what he says about, he's going to, the project First Stop, to ensure first aid, relief help the private support. The mayor pledged his full support to use the campsite outside Molivos. In the middle of July, we will supply a doctor who will examine health of refugees, therapy and hygiene. He will also prepare the arrival for volunteer teams, and they ask for more donations. Yeah. Now, middle of July, we're in the first week of August. I'm still out in the mornings with a couple of guys with me now, but these people are not here. They're collecting money again from all over, and they're asking for donations from all over, and they're doing absolutely nothing. I've been told he's here wandering around in his car and that, taking more photographs maybe to get more donations, but there's still no doctor here. The campsite's still bloody closed. We've got no help from this guy at all. The only time I see him, he insulted me, and then he held this meeting where quite obviously the local town, he put us back 2 months, and now he's lying on radio and everything else saying he's in here in the middle of July and he's got doctors and everything else, and honestly it hasn't. Don't give any donations to Borderline Europe. I am disgusted with them. The Red Cross, the same. The Red Cross, they advertised that they had 60 volunteers at Moria. Now this was over a month ago, and then this is the Danish Red Cross. Now I went in there 2 weeks ago and the place is absolutely disgusting. It's bogging. Again, I will put the photographs on Facebook. You can look at YouTube, my blogs on Moria, and you can see. If I had 20 volunteers, I could have cleaned the toilets up in one day. No problem. They have 60 volunteers in there for over a month, and the rubbish and the filth and everything else. And then last week I went down, and Borderline Europe, there was one guy there and he had a team of refugees clean the toilet. This was nothing to do with the Red Cross. And the filth and the shit that the people have been sleeping in and living in down there, and the Red Cross said they were there, they had 60 volunteers in there. I was told there was 2 volunteers in there, but they done absolutely nothing other than sit around talking. Now again, if you look at the Red Cross site, they say the islands are handling the basic hygiene kits, and they're supplying diapers, and they say they will help 10,000 refugees in the next 4 months. This was put out by the Danish Red Cross, and again they were asking for donations, and again they've done absolutely nothing. Yeah, all these aid agencies, and still these people are living in filth and living in shit. Yeah. And you can't do an absolute thing. We have the bus on now from the UNHCR, and Borderline Europe done it 2 weeks for 2 weeks. Fair play to Borderline Europe on that one. It was much appreciated. We hope this stays on, but I think all these aid agencies and all the money they're collecting, a lot more should be happening in after 6 months. And as for the European governments watching this going on in Europe, this is absolutely disgusting. This is Europe 2015, and everyone is watching these people living in shit and filth and everything in Europe. Yeah? We have had deaths, and we had deaths at sea, mainly on the Turkish side, I've been told, but there have been some on other islands on the Greek side, I've been told also. Now the other thing is, we are in Europe, and what's going on out there during the day and in the night, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen people being beaten by this small speedboat that drives up behind them, rips the engine off and beats hell out of them with sticks. And one of my blogs, I've got people actually telling what happened to their boats. We've had people being robbed by men in black masks, these boats being disabled by men in black masks and towed back into Turkish waters. And the boat I put on a blog, they actually sliced the boat and left them in the water. 50, 60 people, women and children. This is unbelievable. This is a crime against humanity. When these things happen all around the world, even in the past, and they're still happening now, but all these things, eventually these people that commit these crimes will be caught. Yeah? And this is a crime. Hitting and smashing innocent people when they're coming out of a war zone, which they should be protected and given clothes, shelter, water and hygiene. And what do? They get beaten on the head with sticks. They have to protect their children. They get water cannons by the Turkish Coast Guard. You know, I had one boat come in and the children were absolutely soaked, babies and all, because they put a water cannon into them. Yeah? This is just unbelievable. This is Europe. This is bloody Europe. And what's going in here is a crime. What the hell's going on in Europe? This is a crime, and a big crime. And if this person that's beating people, and these people, it's not just on this island, it's on the other island, that are beating people, disabling the engines, towing them back into Turkey. If this had been an order by someone, then this person should be sent to The Hague for crimes against humanity. Because this is disgusting. These are war refugees, they need protecting. Not beaten up, not robbed, not blasted with hose pipes, not boats slashed and left in the middle of the water to fend for themselves. I dread to think how many people have died out there. And it's all been hushed up. This is absolutely disgusting behaviour. We're in 2015. We're living in Europe. And it seems like the governments of Europe are accepting all this as normal. If this is normal and accepting it, God help all of us. Because there's not a help for any of us. If this is how Europe runs itself. These people should be protected. They're from a war zone. They need help, and a lot of help. And as for these aid agencies, this is criminal. You're collecting all this money and you're having a great time yourselves, but you're not putting it where it should be. Yeah? Most of the help these people are getting are from private donations. The majority of it. Nearly all of it. You know, it just amazes me. Okay, we've had some amazing volunteers. I have to thank them. Amazing people coming on a holiday. I have to thank them. You know, for giving their help, making sandwiches and things like that. Amazing people trying to protect my family because of the abuses we've been sent and the threats we've been had against our lives and everything else. Thank you very much for the people coming in and protecting us. You know, I don't believe we're living in Europe, and I don't believe what's been going on the last 6 months here. It is just unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And that, believe me or not, the people of Europe should be ashamed that this has gone on within Europe. When you're told that Africa camps are better and Bangladesh camps are better than camps within Europe, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Absolutely, really ashamed of ourselves. Yeah. And as for the politicians of Europe, you just disgust me. You just absolutely disgust me. You've been watching this go on month in, month out, the same as the aid agencies, and you're doing absolutely nothing. Nothing to help these people. And that is unbelievable. You know? You see these people here now, they have no toilets, they can't have a wash, they have nothing. You know, they have to lay here, and we'll feed them, we'll give them water, and then tomorrow they have to go on their way and they have to arrive in one of these disgusting camps, you know. This is 10 times better than those camps, believe me. The toilets in those camps, we don't have toilets here, you know, they have to poo up the top there or try and find somewhere where they can have a poo, because this town won't allow us to put these toilets up or these showers for them. And we've had hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds sleeping here overnight. And it's just unbelievable that we're in Europe and this happens, you know. It's not unbelievable, it's just disgusting. The people of Europe should be very, very ashamed of themselves. Everyone in Europe should be ashamed of themselves. This shouldn't happen anywhere in the world, let alone in Europe. Okay, I have to thank everyone for all their support, the normal people we have that's given us support. You know, I am disgusted with most of the aid agencies and that, because all they're doing is making money, and this should be illegal. You know, they should have emergency teams, and they should come in on the first month. They should have been in here sorting all this out. 6 months on, and still we've got nowhere. You know, we got a couple of extra showers and a bit of shingle in a corner from one aid agency. You know, other than the Boat Foundation that has supplied us with Pampers and everything else, and private people that have supplied us with stuff. A lot of nice private people. And believe it or not, the most of the support we get is from Denmark, even though the Red Cross lied and everything in Denmark. You know, the people of Denmark have been absolutely fantastic. The amount of support they've given us and the amount of stuff they've given us is unbelievable. Thank you very much, Denmark. the rest of Europe, the people around Europe, they've been sending us stuff as well. I mean, there is a lot of people sending us pampers and clothes and things like that, and it's really, really appreciated. And what we got to get now in the next 6 months, we've got to prepare ourselves for winter. And I was hoping we could sort ourselves out regarding aid agencies and people like these hierarchy in this town, the way they treat people and everything else. I was hoping we could sort that out by the winter, but quite obviously we're not going to. So the winter's going to be hard this year, you know, for the people that have to try and help, and for the refugees that come in, you know, because it's going to be cold, it's going to be wet, there's going to be a lot of accidents, and we're going to have to deal with it. And as I said, we still don't have a doctor after 6 months. You know, it's just unbelievable. Okay, I'm going to shut this one down. It's gone on a bit, but it needed to be said. This is like a 6 month summary. So all the best, everyone.